What was your "I'm dating a fucking idiot" moment?
He insisted that Spain was in South America because they spoke Spanish. I told him I had to leave in 1.5 hours. He told me that was oddly specific and I should have rounded up to 2 hours instead of 1 hour and 50 minutes. I clarified that I had to leave in 1 hour and 30 minutes and he said that's actually 1.3 hours.
When he asked my grandmother if she'd ever had children. There's no way the earth spins once a day.
If it spun that fast we would all fly off. She seemed to be confused about the difference between flamingos and penguins, but insisted they weren't real because she'd grown up in Alaska and never seen any.
What kind of bird is a ham was hard to ignore. How do oil companies know where to build gas stations?
She thought that there was a gasoline bubble underground that they would tap into and run a line straight to the pump. She was working for Chevron. He was putting chicken directly on the racks in his oven to cook, despite juices dripping down and smoking/burning. She had a new telescope and thought it would be really cute to check out the stars after a date one night. I don't remember the full conversation, but at some point I joked about us being stuck together on this giant ball in space.
She looked through the telescope again and said, "So you believe that, huh?"
I just stared at her blankly because I was afraid of that question going any further.
Anyways, happy to share that we didn't last long, but did you guys know that there's totally a lot of evidence that our planet is probably not round?
I opened a drawer in my bathroom and noticed a bunch of Q-tips scattered all over my hairbrush, towels, etc. When I asked him about it, he said he dumped all my Q-tips out and threw away the box they came in to help me save space in the drawer. I was cutting plywood on my table saw. She came up behind me when I didn't know she was there and decided to help me by pushing a sheet when I was already pushing it through. It lurched, and I damn near lost a finger. She had no idea why I was angry at poor little her. I was dating a guy and we worked together but were on opposing shifts. I come in for turnover and he lets me know that he can't get into the computer in the office and the password on the sticky note was not working.
Sticky note very straightforward, written like login XYZ. Password XYZ.
Thought, that's weird because I literally used it the night before.
Get to the computer, punch in the password and boom, I'm logged in.
I asked him what he was putting in and he goes password XYZ like it says on the sticky note.
Darling, the password is XYZ, not password XYZ.
Not his brightest moment. And the kicker is he did this for several days and thought it was an issue everyone was having.
I was going into anaphylactic shock at a restaurant due to unknown allergy.
My throat was closing and I had no neck due to swelling.
He asked if I wanted to go outside to get some air.
We were sitting on the patio.
Look at the moon. That ain't right. Me, what do you mean?
You're not supposed to see the moon during the daytime.
The government put that there to spy on us. Me.
He played a lot of COD and got a tattoo based on a cool design he saw in the game. It was the Nazi eagle. Only after a year and a half of dating did he reveal to me that the world is flat, we live in a dome, the sky is a projection and all the horizon-related experiments to confirm Earth's roundness is logically flawed. He knows me and my dad have fancy telescopes and do astrophotography and stargaze together on a literal observatory on our roof.
Fucking wasted my time. At Home Depot.
Some sort of chair was $25 for one, $40 for two.
She said, "Oh, it's a deal if you get one."
Senior year of high school, I'd been offered a full-ride college scholarship for athletics. My girlfriend at the time was always annoyed with how much time I dedicated to my sport. In a particular conversation, I made my case that without the sport, I probably wouldn't be able to go to college, and even if I could, I'd be riddled with debt. The scholarship was a life changer for me. She got mad that I called the scholarship a life changer and demanded that I quit my sport so we could hang out more. We broke up about 90 seconds after that comment. Dude I was dating turned out to be the worst kind of know-it-all because his facts were mostly wrong. He told me not to tell him that because he doesn't like it, it's been done before and it's not true. I hadn't encountered an incident of it yet, so I memorized that, but didn't think about it much even if I thought it was weird to tell me that. Fast forward a few days, we were sitting at dinner at a restaurant talking about whatever when peripherally something about human organs floats by and that the pH of the stomach is about 3. He looks at me with a smile of deep condescension and says, "The pH of the stomach is 10. He said that so final and with such an air of superiority that I stopped mid-sentence. You don't want to be rude back and mistakes happen anyway, so I tried to tell him politely that he might have a false memory there or a teacher in his past might have mixed something up. I just didn't want to embarrass him more than he already did himself in public, but he was committed to this.
My name, I know the pH of the stomach is 10. You're wrong.
I told him to please look it up, because I'm a biologist and I'm confident enough in my education.
He did, and he was wrong. There were a couple similar incidents after this one.
Hilariously, when we broke up, one of his gripes was, "I believe you think I'm stupid." In reality, it was that and the fact he was not only wrong, but malicious and utterly confident in both. It became obvious that she had a poor sense of direction, and I asked her which way she thought was north.
She pointed up.
When he ran out of gas while in line at the Starbucks drive-thru, right across the street from the gas station. I told him to get gas first because his car was low, but he really needed that iced caramel macchiato. I asked why he didn't listen to me, and he replied with, "I thought I could make it." He ended up pushing the car through the drive-thru and got his coffee while doing so, then parked the car in the lot and called a tow.
To tow it back home. Instead of the gas station across the street.
No, he did not get any gas that day. He waited until his dad got off work to bring a 3-gallon jug of gasoline because I refused to enable that shit. ETA, I fell asleep after commenting. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone with all these comments. Holy shit, thank you for the reward.
Yes, I'm still in a relationship with him.
He's a space case, but so am I, just not to that extent. LMAO, I have not let him live that day down, and he has learned to get gas first every time now. The worst part of that day was the fact he didn't remember he had a canister for gasoline in his trunk. He told me he towed the car home instead of the gas station because he was too embarrassed and ashamed of himself. I asked why he still pushed his car through the Starbucks drive-thru, and he deadpan goes, "I had enough stars for a free drink. I was gonna put the extra money I saved in my tank, gas."
My brain broke for a second because he uses the preloaded Starbucks app. How was he going to use $7 of his preloaded Starbucks app at a Chevron? He still hasn't answered me, and it's been 2 years since it happened. Edit 2, I showed him this and he flipped me off and said if this makes me famous he demands royalties. LMAO. Not a girlfriend but a family member. We lived in Alaska and she and her husband, who lived in the lower 48, were talking about coming to visit us. She talked about driving and was excited to drive on the bridge. We asked, "What bridge?" "The one that goes from Washington State to Anchorage," she replied. We told her that that did not exist. She'd have to fly. She was surprised to learn that there wasn't a bridge, but excused it by saying, "Well, I'm just not good with geometry." She meant geography. I was in the passenger seat of my ex-girlfriend's car. We were 22 at the time, and whilst driving I opened the glove compartment to store something. She turned and screamed, "What the fuck are you doing?" Confused, I asked, "What's going on?" Apparently as a kid she used to play with the glove compartment all the time, so her parents told her that opening the glove compartment on a moving car would damage the engine. She was 22 and still believed this. For me, the last girl I went on a date with blindly crossed a busy-ass street in front and cars in both directions had to slam on their brakes to avoid her. I waited and crossed when there was no one coming. When I finally got up to her I asked, "WTF was that?" And she said, "Pedestrians have the right of way." Girl I dated before meeting my wife. Me, so what's your long-term goals/plan? Her, I'm gonna win the lottery and retire. Me, haha yeah I'd love to too, but really though. Her, I'm serious. I buy a ticket every week, I'm going to win millions and retire. We didn't last long. He pointed to Texas on a map and said we should visit California someday. We lived in Pennsylvania, so we weren't close to either of those states, but they are the most easily discernible states on a US map. Context: he was homeschooled and decided in 2nd grade he didn't want to do school anymore, so his mom would sign off that he finished his lessons. He was shocked to learn that he wouldn't be able to pick up our car rental that was under my name using my credit card because they always let me pick it up using my dad's card when we were on family vacations. I had to explain to him that he and his dad had the same first and last name. When she said she thought we could drive to Hawaii because she said it looked close on a map. She also asked how fish breathe under the ice. She was very pretty. She thought that cars ** used gas to move, so if you left a car idling it would never run out of gas. I asked her if you could let a car idle for 5 years without running out of gas, and she thought about it for a minute and said yes. I got in an argument with a college GF who thought the city's new windmills were a waste of energy. I tried to explain that they are turned by the wind and not powered to make wind, and a major argument ensued. Had an ex-girlfriend ask if she could throw her phone in the microwave for a quick charge before we left. I said I have a charger in the car and explained in the car why we cannot put metal in the microwave. This woman was in school to become a doctor. She never had a brain fart like that again when we were together. But every once in a while, I hope her microwave is okay. She thought the Chernobyl event was made up for movies and stuff.